settling down and starting a family is what you need in order to grow up. Alrighty, so we already spoke about the childless woman trope, and today we're going to talk about the single guy trope. And while women face different challenges than men when it comes to being child-free, I'm trying to attempt to tackle the thematic from the perspective of men. So let's jump into this. So yeah, the single guy whose life is not complete unless he finally settles down and starts a family and has children. And while there are some good examples of male characters who are without children, some of the characters that come to mind are in the fantasy realm, such as Gandalf and Frodo and Dumbledore. There are also many examples of men whose refusal to settle down and have children is painted in a somewhat negative light. But before we dive deeper into this, this video is not meant to diminish the men who do want children and who want to be fathers, and also who, more importantly, do an excellent job at being fathers. It's merely meant to showcase that there are alternatives out there. So yeah, I hereby present my top 4 examples of the single guy trope that I found within fiction. So number 1, Ben from Knocked Up. The guy who just doesn't want to grow up, you know? I mean, he's sort of presented as a guy who just really doesn't have his shit together. He smokes weed, he hangs around on the couch and just lives into the day without really, you know, doing anything productive. He spends his time with his friends, with his male friends, like they all live together in a shared, you know, flat or house or something, and it has this typical fraternity brothers vibe to it.
I love weed. I smoke weed every second of every day.
Hey, I am your stoner.
And yeah, it does not seem like he's holding a stable job or anything. And then there is this conversation he has with Allison, in which he reveals that he sort of is living from money that he got due to like a settlement fee or something, because there was an incident prior in his youth, and now he's living from this money and he's stretching it out, but it's running low right now. But I mean, who actually needs to invest money into the future? We don't need to save. Like, what are we even saving for, right?
I have like $900 left, so that should last me for like, I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but like another 2 years or some shit, I think.
But yeah, meet Allison, his one-night stand. Allison, who then informs Ben that, you know, he knocked her up, so he's going to be a father. Allison, who's then shocked to see that Ben is in absolutely no state to be a father. And Ben, who then realizes he actually needs to get his shit together because there is a baby on the way.
Yeah. So I have something I really need to tell you. It's kind of why I called you. Here goes. I'm pregnant.
Fuck off.
What?
What?
I'm pregnant?
With emotion?
With a baby. You're the father.
And it's not like that Ben's entire personality changes, but it does showcase that without him becoming a father, it would have been likely just him continuing to live his, you know, sluggish life, living into the days as there is no tomorrow. And yeah, meaning without the baby on the way, he would have possibly stayed a loser for the rest of his life, because... Alrighty, number 2, Frank Underwood from House of Cards, the career-obsessed guy. To be fair, Frank Underwood is not a single guy, so he does not start out as a single guy within the story. He's married from the beginning, but he does fit the criteria quite well, and yeah, that's why he's still in my top 4 list. Yeah, he just just wants to be the master of the world, aka the President of the United States. Very career-oriented, very focused on his work, very power-hungry, not very likable, because I mean, how can you be likable if you don't have a family and if you don't have children? I mean, he doesn't even want children, so...
I'm not going to lie. I despise children. There, I've said it.
Let me correct myself. How can you be likable if you hate children? No wonder he's a bitter man without any love and affection in his life. You know, these things, they are related to each other. I mean, how can you possibly turn out to be a well-rounded person and also a fulfilled person without ever experiencing the joy of raising your own children? Which brings us to number 3, Simon from Bridgerton, the bachelor guy. Simon, what are you doing? You're the most eligible bachelor guy in town, but you choose to sleep around instead of focusing on, securing yourself a good wife. But the worst thing is that you outright refuse to further your line and have any children. I mean, you're a duke, Simon, a duke. Huh? What do you mean you're not going to continue your line? But no worries though. Daphne, our female lead, is more than happy to accept you for who you are. And you marry her, and that is the end. And you live happily ever after. Ta-da! Not really though, because as soon as Daphne figures out that it's not due to Simon's physical inability that he cannot give her children, which is what she initially assumed, as Simon didn't really clearly state to her that it's due to personal choice, she sort of snaps. And well, yeah, then there is the ultimatum of either we're going to have children or this marriage is, coming to an end. And you know what? We all know how the story ends after some dramatic ups and downs. And then we come to number 4, Harvey Specter from Suits, the workaholic bachelor guy. Essentially, Harvey is a crossover between Frank and Simon. He is married to his career, but he also enjoys sleeping around with all of the women he can possibly get his hands on. Throughout the show, Harvey is depicted as a character who struggles to emotionally connect with others, and even if he does, he struggles when it comes to showcasing that he cares about someone. He lacks empathy. He does not really care about people oftentimes. I mean, he cares about winning. Really important distinction to make here. But then again, on the other side, he's portrayed as some sort of anti-hero. He ends up marrying in season 9, bringing his storyline to full circle. But he stays without children. And while it's never explicitly stated within the show that he doesn't want them, at least not as far as I'm aware, yeah, according to his whole, storyline, I personally do believe that he is someone who would choose to stay child-free, but that is just my assumption here. But yeah, overall, what does it all mean? Not to say that men like Ben or Simon can't find joy in parenthood after they initially did not expect or plan for their life to turn out that way. It's more that it kind of creates the notion of you're either going to have children or you're going to turn out like Frank or Harvey. You're either going to end up like a well-rounded, family man who finally found his place in life, or you're going to end up being married to your career. Or, well, in case of, people like Ben, you're going to end up a loser who is neither married to his career nor a loving and caring family man. And thinking again about other male characters without kids, the one that I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this video, Gandalf, Frodo, Dumbledore, I mean, yeah, all of these characters inhabit fantastical worlds, but they also all sort of succeeded within their worlds, and they went on to do like great things, like world-saving great things. Meaning they sort of fall into the career guy category, or like the career guy / hero guy category. But the question is more, where's the middle ground? Why does a man need to be either defined by his qualities as a loving family man or by his qualities as a successful businessman? To be fair, to me personally, Harvey straddles the line, as he sort of ends up as a successful and fulfilled businessman without children. And yes, he's married to his career and he's married to his partner. But he at least showcases that as a man who does not decide to go down the very classic route of, family, house, children, he can still be defined by qualities that, are not exclusive to a singular box. Similar to what I discussed in the childless woman trope video, society still perpetuates the idea of, like the classic gender roles and what they mean. And that leaves the question, but what happens to those people who do not conform to these classic gender roles? And again, enjoying living according to classic gender roles is not a bad thing. But on the other side, rejecting those classic gender roles is also not a bad thing. Overall though, I am not a man, so I would be very curious to hear your thoughts on the topic. What are your opinions? And can you relate or not? So yeah, that is just meant as a conversation starter. I'm definitely not an expert on any of these topics, and I'm just throwing my ideas and thoughts out there. And yeah, that's that for now. Sayonara and see you later.